this. Right now, everyone during this Lionsgate portal is having a lot of infrastructure recoded. The nervous system, the mental field. There are things that are being reworked in every single person that are so much deeper than ever before. And this is where you get to scan, you know, is my mental field overactive at the moment? Is my emotional field? Is my physical field, you know, finding this more challenging? And this is where we hold ourselves in it because there's so much happening. There are so many different transformations happening at once. And our mental field, who's noticed that your mind's been a little bit more active recently? Please raise your paw if your mind has been more charged, and maybe even more charged than you're used to. Let me share with you why, so you can talk to it. The mind can't process the transformation that's happening. It can't. It's like, imagine for a second if you had your eyes closed and you couldn't hear, and all you could do was feel, and all of a sudden you're being pushed by wind and splashed by water, and you know, rocks are falling on your head. And imagine if you'd never experienced water, wind or rocks. What would be present for you? And so this is what's happening at the mental level, that some of what our mind could be holding on to a little bit right now is the tip of the iceberg. Literally, it's like even the narratives that are coming through the mind, it's like the tiniest tip, and the big iceberg of change that's happening is beyond what we can track. Therefore, one of the ways that you can really assess this is by doing the scan. You know, how much of my heart has anchored? Feel the architecture, go into the energetic realms. Does this make sense? And coach the mind. One of the most beautiful ways that we can coach the mind is to come into a formation where we call in our higher mind, call in our soul, see our mind as a beautiful architecture right in front of us, and then we go into talking to our mind. Otherwise, if we don't do this, guess what happens? We become the mind. We go in and we, you know, we can either become the mind and we then or we can beautifully allow ourselves to look at the architecture of consciousness slightly differently, come into a form where we choose to cultivate, we say, I wish to co-create with love, compassion, understanding. Right now, I choose to believe that there is more going on than I can witness. And I accept that I can only see this much through my mental field right now. And I'm just gonna go, it's okay, mind. We're going through a huge transition. The whole world is. There is more happening, more reconfiguring. There's so much changing that we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of it. And I know it's scary, and we've done it before. How many times have we done this before, mind? That we've gone through big portals, big expansions, and what's happened on the other side? And then the mind says, well, we've come out better and things have been better. See what I mean? That this is one of those times where leading our mind through conversation, which is loving guidance, this is loving leadership of the mind. Who feels that this is more important for you at the moment? That if you were to incorporate an expanded, you know, just even if you write it down, I'm lovingly leading my mind through one of the biggest transformations I've ever been through. Because can you feel the depth of this? You know, it's so deep. And then, to me, every year in Lionsgate, to me, Lionsgate is a sacred time. I see it as, this is my true new year. A new grid becomes available for all of humanity. We get prepared for it in July. August, we shift into it and we integrate through the whole of August, all the way up. September kind of becomes like the new garden. And this happens, and it's happening deeper. And so it's exciting because it's like, a new year, a new beginning. This is where we consciously get to co-create with whatever we wish. This is why I was also sharing in Roundtable that you carve space. You actually get your diary and you carve space within your calendar for you, for what's important to you. You know, you block it out, and inside of it you can work on your projects, you can receive initiations, or you can just be and receive your own upgrades, get a massage, allow yourself to go through this process and create space for it. One of the most beautiful things we can do in our mission in serving others is to know that there are times that we need space for ourselves, and not to have that be secondary. Because how many times have you guys experienced you filled up your whole grid and you're going through upgrades and there's, it's just happening, kind of feels like it's happening to you. That's why I asked you all to map out time, to clear some time, to create some time, physical time in the calendar, to be able to drop in and talk to your mind, to be able to do all of the pieces, to go and start to work inside of the projects that you're working on personally within the membership site and on whatever you're doing. And this is such an important piece right now, and to be loving, to truly choose love. There's going to, for some of you, there are big shifts happening in relationships. Who's having some big shifts happening in relationships right now? It's a big one across the board. Can I share with you what's happening at a global collective level and why relationships are feeling even more altered? And this is also why nervous systems are part of this particular journey, and we're adding a nervous system tab this week to the membership site for you. The way that humanity has been co-creating in relationship has been an enmeshment of a nervous system enmeshment for such a long time. If we look at the world, and if we look through the window into third density, pure third consciousness, which is someone who lives in linear time, only respects the physical plane of existence, and co-creates with virtues and values like status and hierarchy and pleasing others, being enough, being accepted, belonging, all of those things. Very tribal consciousness. The nervous systems are woven together in the third and fourth realm. They really only start to untether in the fifth dimension onwards. And right now, more and more souls are having nervous system recoding, codependent architecture, and what we would call enmeshment. Enmeshment, if you're familiar with psychology and therapy, there is often enmeshment that takes place within our realities and our relationships. Some of us fawn. Who is familiar with fawning as a defense mechanism? If you're, everyone seems to be, just to give you a greater overview. Most of us know that a defense mechanism, fight and freeze and flight, it's like, I freeze. It's like, that's my defense mechanism. That's my nervous system freaking out. Or I run from the lion. There's my flight. Or I fight, and depending on the nature of our environments, most of us have heard about these, and yes, they're absolutely there, yet there is another, which is fawn and fix. And a lot of souls who have a big heart, and truly so many souls that come into this industry that are wanting to make a difference and serve, come from having a fawn fix defense mechanism as one of their primary ones. And what that means is that the nervous system enmeshes with the people in their life and their society, and the people in their life need to be okay for them to feel safe. And so what they will do is they'll either self-sacrifice and do whatever they need to for others and put themselves last. This is the martyr, thinking that there's that lack of discernment between what it really means to support someone and then what it means to carry the burden. Fawners carry the burden of other people in their field. And fawn fix, there's a fix component, that there's a need to fix it, to make it better. Often it's the fix defense mechanism program. It's a nervous system response that has us go off and learn modalities to help people. This is big, because what that means is that if we're still co-creating with that architecture, and we do co-create with that architecture in our third, fourth, even in aspects of our fifth density consciousness. This is why, if you've noticed, you've been peeling the layers of it over the years. It's like it's been this untangling, a muddled up ball of wool kind of thing. And right now, that enmeshment is shifting at a subconscious level. There's work being done to untangle, to unplug, to create sovereignty across the collective of this planet. And every single person is experiencing their own version of it. It's been happening for years now. Every year there's been more and more peeling away around this particular infrastructure. Yet what that then means is we can go through stages, and some of you have already been through this. I've witnessed Christy go through this a few times, where when the fix is no longer the operation system, you can be left for a moment with, what do I do? You can be left in freeze. You can be left with, if you had these moments of, I don't know how to operate now, I don't know what to do next. It's because a fundamental program like fix was running your mission. And if we mix fix and flight together, we have a super high achiever hero who's doing great things in the world and driven from a nervous system perspective. And we don't even know that we're operating in that program architecture until we leave it, because we don't know any different. That's the reality of it. That is what's been recoded and rewired in humanity right now. That's why it's like, whoa, that's why you got a hand over there and a foot over there, and that's why it's feeling a little bit like there's a depth, and yet it's feeling quite deep, and the mind can't track it.